right, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Pros with Con podcast. I got some good buddies on today. We got Kurt Langtop back in the building.
How's it going, everybody?
He's back. And we got the one and only Frank Mastrioni. He's back.
The Lung himself is in the building.
He's back in Aurelius. We knew that was coming. We knew it. He's back in Aurelius. He's here quite a bit. But we're going to talk about a lot of cool things today. One of the most important topics you could talk about in CrossFit and just in life, nutrition. So Frank here is a nutrition coach for quite a few people around, especially in Aurelius. So good community built kind of just through his nutrition business and then just becoming friends with a lot of people here. So it's been cool. We'll get into his backstory and everything and how he kind of got introduced to Aurelius, but CrossFit has been his journey, so that's kind of a cool connection. And it's big in the CrossFit space to really be a focal point on nutrition, so that's why it's good to kind of have these conversations, but he also can talk about from more of like a lifestyle type thing, which we like to talk about. So like aesthetics, feeling good, losing fat, all these kind of things. Frank's the man at it. Would you agree?
Hear that?
Oh, 100% agree.
Absolutely.
He helped my CrossFit a ton. And my energy levels.
Kurt was eating 150 grams of fat at night.
Whoa.
All right,
180.
180 grams?
It was ugly.
bad.
He was eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's every night.
Every night. Religiously.
And then-
and then he was like, dude, I don't know why I feel so awful.
I was like, I feel fit, but I feel bad.
Frank, I don't know why I feel so awful. I'm eating 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's every night.
You look like a trapezoid. Kurt's body shape was a trapezoid.
Wasn't good.
Wasn't
good.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a little bit of gut problems. But we figured it out. We got it.
readjusted, and now look at him.
Yep.
Complains about not being fit and still beating Frank all the time in workouts.
Whoa.
You do, man.
That's what he said.
here
That's
it
what he
is.
said. Oh, he's being humble.
Like what I said.
Here he goes.
Blinds, Clydesdale, finds the hair every once in a while.
Yeah.
So stupid, but so funny. Oh, so stupid, but so funny. So Frank has been involved in CrossFit and nutrition for quite a few years now. So it'd be
This is year 10.
year 10 in CrossFit.
In February will be my 10th year.
That's a lot. Wow,
Yeah, so.
that's awesome. You got a decade in the biz.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So it was 2013. Yeah, 2013. So 10
Like the-
years. I was 19 going on 20, and I did my first CrossFit workout in
there you
February.
go.
I got beat by a bunch of middle school girls.
That's all right.
Paint that picture more, please. I want to know what was the workout.
We should have wore our shirts.
Did they talk
today.
as much junk as I talk?
They didn't need to. They're in middle school, and I was in college, so they didn't. It spoke for itself.
I should
whenever-
have worn my shirt today.
Yeah.
With
of
your-
my
Oh, with
The
his face.
semifinal.
I know, I have it too.
I forgot all about
Dropped
it.
the ball
That would have
there.
been great.
So yeah, I mean, in 2012, I dropped out of college, and then I went to like this local meathead gym, which was basically just like strength training, and I just love to pump iron, and I like my only exposure to training up to that point was bodybuilding, powerlifting, and stuff. And then this dude would not leave me alone about trying this thing called CrossFit, and I thought it was so dumb because it was like, so the idea of old CrossFit was the WOD, the workout of the day, right? And I was like, well, first of all, I like to lift weights for
First
like
of
2
all,
hours.
all I do is eat plates. I don't do
Exactly.
pull-ups and.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
here we go. Already starting it, huh?
That's exactly what it was. So it was like deadlift, squat, bench, and then it was just rage, listen to heavy metal, and pump iron all day. And this guy was
That
like,
sounds scary.
it was scary.
I would have been scared.
For you, it would have been scary.
Anyway.
I did it, and well, actually, I didn't do it. I was really like hesitant at first for a long time because I thought it was stupid. I was like,
CrossFit?
I thought it was dumb. I was like, this is so dumb. These people are all like who wants to do one quick workout a day? That's kind of what I thought because I wasn't really informed.
Mm-hmm.
But then one day I was like, I'm gonna drive to the gym. I know this guy's gonna be there. I know he's gonna be in the back corner, and I know his name is Rob Morrow. So thank you, Rob. If you ever
Shout out, Rob.
yeah, if you ever hear this, for getting me into this because it changed my life. And I walked in and I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get it over with. I'm going to make it so he stops bugging me while I'm doing my lifts. And it was like a 10 or 12 minute AMRAP of deadlifts at like 185, and I was like, that's nothing, you know, not for me.
Mhm.
And then it was like burpees and box jumps, so you can imagine. Dude, like, I literally could not believe I was in another dimension.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It,
We've
and
all been there.
yeah.
Yeah.
so my pace was so brutally slow that I was like, there's no way. Like this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It felt like I was fighting for my life. And like all these other middle school girls that are like 12, 13, 14 are like just, you know, they've been doing it longer than me and they beat me by like rounds.
Rounds.
more. And they probably scaled. They
They didn't.
But, all right, take it easy. But I saw that and I was humbled. And then from there on, I started doing research on CrossFit. You know, YouTube was actually fairly new at the time because this was only 2012, 2013. So,
Yeah.
like, all these apps were still kind of primitive in terms of, like, where they're at now. And
That's a good word.
I saw these people at the games and, well, I was exposed to the games and then I saw how ripped they were and how strong they were. And I was like, shit, like, I'm training so I could become more jacked and more lean. You know, I wasn't as lean as I wanted to, especially as these CrossFit athletes, because that's how they're portrayed in the sport. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a go. And then I saw Rich, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to go to the games like next year. But you know, so then I was like, I really
all been there.
Yeah.
Just start like, give me a year.
I'm still there, but you know,
Jacob, giving Jacob a year.
yeah. But I found that sport, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna keep trying this way because it's really, really difficult, and I like that challenge.
Amen. That's kind of your intro to CrossFit?
Yeah, so that was my intro. And it's funny because now I do so much training that I reflect sometimes on the fact that I used to pull up to the gym and I used to be like nervous. Like I would sit in the parking lot and I would sit there and be like, fuck, like this is going to suck so bad. And I was so intimidated by that, but like obviously not too intimidated to not go, but I just remember days being like super ready for this really potent workout to just eat me alive.
I remember that, especially like now when I take a class or if I go somewhere and I drop in to take a class, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this. I'm used to it. When I first started, it was the most nerve-wracking thing. You'd literally I'd sit in the parking lot, and I'm not early to anything. I was early to CrossFit at the beginning because I was just scared. I was like, I'm gonna die today. I might get embarrassed. I might eat this, but I was like, but I love this.
It
It's a great
challenges
thing.
like every part of your ego.
Yeah.
Because like you think you're fit, you want to get better, but then you know that the only way to get better is through going through the suck. And then it's like when you're early in the CrossFit, you have no idea of how to regulate your intensity. You have no. It's all just go. It's like go because I mean your wall is going to be 30 seconds into the workout as a new gym goer, and that's how it was for me for a year, 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a cool like topic to discuss as far as like, from the grand scheme of things, being nervous to try something new, and it actually be able to change your life, which is what CrossFit kind of tries to implement in people's lives. So we talk about that quite a bit, but also just from the standpoint that you understand now, like what the whole big picture of like what CrossFit is. So like programming, like what we want to talk about here coming up in the next few weeks, and like how to scale and how to attack workouts. Like you're so aware of that now. I mean, it took you a while, but that's like with anything in life. You have to get comfortable with it first. And it's just like CrossFit definitely emphasizes that you want to be pushed out of your comfort zone, but it's going to suck, and you're just going to be better off for it on the end. So like we talked about that with Leah. I guess that's kind of like a good sub-topic of what you just said. Like getting started was just the worst part. Like once you started getting into it, you got like addicted almost, and just like craved that kind of adrenaline as far as like not being nervous for it every time you would show up, like you just said.
The feeling of completing a workout and having a score was like, back then it was like, it's changed so much in the last 10 years because affiliates now kind of operate differently than they used to. The programming is way more, obviously depending on where
There's
you
just
go.
a lot more, like
Way more.
so much more in CrossFit today.
Yeah, it's just a lot more effective.
Yeah, and it's like, just like the pure like masses taking over globally, like how much CrossFit is everywhere now, as opposed to back then it wasn't as big, and it's still very small in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But it's just like in the
really try other
last.
sports,
So
yeah.
when you
In the
when
last
you
10
started,
years.
when was the first games? 2007,
So I got so
7?
think about this, right?
yeah.
I got into it
2008,
February 2020 or no
2011.
2013, and then the 13 games was that year, and then that was Froning's third consecutive win.
When?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I judged everything based off of when Froning was reigning, because like that he was like the star poster child of the
Oh, yeah.
CrossFit Games,
Yeah.
and he's who like got me into CrossFit and like showed me oh my god, like this guy's physique and his capacity,
Yeah.
and he's like a humble family man, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a really good North Star to aim for this time in my life, whenever, because I said, I was in college and I was drinking and I was partying and I was in a culture that was not conducive to health and fitness.
Yeah.
And so whenever you get into health and fitness, and for me, I was feeling this like void of not being very good at sports in high school, or not having opportunity to be good at sports in high school, whether that was from the coaching staff or just like people being better than me at the sport at the time in high school. This filled that void. So it was a really big pendulum swing from being in college, unhappy, literally a teenager. So I was 19, and getting into this thing called CrossFit and seeing all these games athletes look good, feel good. They're performing well. It's like, every good thing that you could possibly imagine.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. And I was hooked.
Yeah.
I was hooked. And then it was a no-brainer. Like I did I smoked a lot of cigarettes. I used to do chewing tobacco a lot. And that was the actually hardest to quit. Smoking cigarettes was not hard to quit. The chewing tobacco was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And when I signed up for my first competition in 2013, that fall, so I got into it in the spring. The summer was the games, and then I was like, fall brawl, like up at Raw in Pittsburgh. First competition, I quit dipping in preparation. I was like, all in. Cold turkey, I was like, I'm done with this.
Really? That's cool.
Done. I
Oh,
was
wait,
like,
wait.
dude, none.
It's
I'm
like
done.
that's like such a crazy
Have you
story
tried
to
it
hear.
Yeah.
What's
But
what's
You
that?
just
Can
know,
do that?
though.
it's like, well, number one, it was the chemical addiction because I had a lot of headaches. But I played baseball growing up, and I
Yeah.
developed a
There you go.
spitting
Yeah.
habit in the dugout. I loved seeds and gum and spitting like that. So it was that. It was also the buzz that I had from the nicotine and the oral fixation of having stuff in my lip.
Were you a chew like what is that called? Red man? Or were you like
Anything really.
anything?
Copenhagen.
Pack it.
Yeah.
Pack it in. Yeah.
I've tried it twice in my life. I've puked both times.
That's what's
I've
up.
puked.
I'm a wimp.
I've puked many times, and I kept doing it.
Like I'm gonna like
Just push through the pain.
I know I'm gonna like it. I got to do this.
Just
You
push through
know
the
what
pain.
it was? Like,
It's like CrossFit. It's like I know I'm gonna like this.
just power through
Yeah,
the,
right.
just power through the dip,
Power,
bro.
power,
You got
power
it.
through
push
these first
through
couple
it.
weeks. I might puke and I might hate myself, but I
Dip-
will love this.
Dip is like CrossFit.
Nah, we should.
Whoa.
No, it's not. No, don't listen to that disclaimer.
Just
Uh,
a joke.
It's funny though that you say all that. I mean, I knew like you back in the day as far as like you were partying, like we all were used to party, but like
Yep.
how your life has transitioned so much from literally just joining CrossFit in the sense of like your own training. So Frank is a avid CrossFitter. Like he made semifinals last year, so he's pretty good in the sport. Like, so when me and Kurt talk about like it's so hard to be competitive in this sport, Frank puts in the hours to it. Like literally dedicates his life alongside his nutrition business. So like we're gonna touch on both things today, but like this is a cool segue to understand like where you started from and now look at you, just like how impactful you are in serving others as far as like how the nutrition goes. And I know you're trying to be modest and humble, but like everyone kind of knows that Frank is the nutrition guy, and
Hopefully
the,
that's
wor-
it.
He's
the
man.
work speaks for
Yeah.
itself.
Oh,
like
100%.
you know what I mean?
And with that, like,
I'll talk you up. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry.
yeah, and I know that, but I don't. Hopefully, whenever people hear that, it's because I only know what people tell me.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully, like being the nutrition guy, it's a good tone. It's like a good.
yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
people hear that, it's not like that guy's a dick. Like it's like that guy takes care of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
That guy's changing people's lives.
Because like
That's what it is.
because being known for that can be good, but you could also be known as like which
It's
know-
such a fine line in that business. Like people
Yeah.
think that everything on the internet is true, so like it's hard to trust things.
Mm-hmm.
So like if people work with you, they know, and like it's kind of like CrossFit. Like it weeds out the people that aren't really suited for that, and like you attract the people that actually care and want to take care of themselves and you provide that service for them.
Yep.
Or you provide the help that they need to get there
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or
Facilitate
form.
what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be mental, that could be physical. It just, all those is kind of wrapped into one. Like, you're very, like, invested in the overall goal.
What makes Frank one of the best nutrition coaches, I think, around in
Say it, bro.
country.
Say it.
You know, I mean, seriously.
You got
is that
clients all over the world. Am I wrong?
You
Yeah.
exactly. So
Right.
you take in everybody's life. Like, you don't just tell them this is the food you need to eat. You are such a lifestyle coach as nutrition, and like the way you're able to blend people's lives and
CrossFit.
shape that is
CrossFit.
amazing.
CrossFit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, exactly. It's just it's phenomenal how
Thanks, man.
you're able to do that.
I-
Because
Yeah.
I mean, it changed me and my outlook on how
Yeah.
I train, and
And
I
we were giving
obviously
Kurt
train
a-
so much better.
We were giving Kurt a hard time to start, like how much fat he was eating on ice cream.
It was a
and
lot.
stuff.
No,
But
that wasn't good.
that's how. That's
I was
how.
working out a good amount, but it still was not
That's
good.
how like Aurelius got introduced to Frank. Like, you were working with a couple people, like
I was
Bridget,
working with Bridget.
Bridget, and then Kurt. So you started coming around a lot more, like hanging out, training, that kind of thing. And then you
Yeah.
just started becoming good friends with people, and then that introduces you to clients, and it's just like cool to see that kind of transition.
Yeah.
From, I mean, we didn't know you how long ago? 3 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
When did you
Yeah.
start working with him?
2020. It was
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Because
So when I started with you, we probably worked together for 3 or 4 months before we came and trained.
because you had an affiliate, and I was like, you know what, you're really not that far away from me,
Yeah.
and I train alone most of the time, so I wanted to come and just train, and then I realized how fit you were, and I was like, oh damn.
Well, it's because I put down the Ben and Jerry's.
You did.
You
Yeah.
made me put down the Ben and Jerry's, and then
I
I,
had to-
and then I was able to sneak a workout in on her.
Devil's Press box
I had to-
number.
Oh, do I remember?
I remember.
And then I wasn't able to clean like 200 pounds, and Frank cleaned like 340. I was like, I got him in the first one.
I had to watch how much I was helping you because you were starting to get better.
He starts
I
sabotaging you.
he's like, you could probably eat a half pint of Ben and Jerry's if you want.
We bump it up a little bit to slow you down. We had to slow you down. 'Cause
That's
you were
funny.
getting too good.
That's
Felt
funny.
threatened.
You felt threatened.
But yeah, that's how it started. I was doing British Nutrition, and I was doing Kurt's, and then I just started coming around and training. I did a little seminar there, which
It's awesome.
the opportunity is also, you know,
It keeps-
amazing. Yeah, it
Mhm.
helps a lot, and that segued into just becoming friends,
Mhm.
and that's been the coolest thing about the transition from going from like the professional environment. And I try to keep it professional with my clients that are here, and I try to keep it professional whenever everything's focused around like the service between me and the people that are trusting in me, but the friendship and like the relationships are the best part of it, because these are like the only people out of all the clients in the world that I have that I can see in person.
Yeah,
I'm
that
really,
that has to be awesome. I mean, I know you get to see the people from over the world, but like you've been going to a lot of competitions lately to see people that you,
Personally work with.
that you personally work with. So that has to be like
If it's
just
with-
awesome to see.
try to. I miss.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you
come on.
yeah, do what you can.
You're a
yeah.
very busy
Right.
dude,
Yeah.
but you've made a good amount, which is amazing.
Yep. Because it's just the support of seeing them put their hard work into a competition environment. It's cool. And if I
Yeah.
can support and I can make it, why not?
Yeah, and you just like instill the confidence in people like Kurt and I for the members here when you're not here. Just like those reminders for our members, like, hey, make sure like your nutrition's in check, and like
sure
if
you
you
eat
have
enough.
any
Hey,
questions,
What would Frank do?
yeah, talk
And
to
then
Frank.
and then I
like-
just stare at him.
yeah, like if people have nutrition questions, we like obviously go talk to Frank. He'll be happy to give you a consult and just see where you're at and
Yep.
that kind of thing. But I mean, it's just cool to see how like this all connects based on CrossFit. Like that's what got you started into
my
being
life,
healthy. You take it serious from a nutrition side, but also like training, and like all these things are kind of wrapped into one. So it's just been kind of cool to see that like implemented here in Aurelius to help us be better.
It's been a huge benefit for this
Aurelius
gym.
has helped me a lot too. I don't think that I've never been this successful in CrossFit, let alone like my coaching practice. But I've never been, and I don't know if it's my adherence to the process or commitment to the goal, but I've never been this successful since I've been training with other people. You know, I do a lot of training alone, and Lucas is at the garage, but
Shout out
whenever I
Lucas.
branch out, shout out to Lucas.
Big
and-
bro.
And whenever I get here, you know, frequently, like for example, last year's quarterfinals, the amount of attention to detail that goes into the logistics of measuring and taping, I didn't have to worry about anything. You guys took care of that for me. allowed me to be successful, allowed me to just focus on pre, post, workout, warm up, cool down, nutrition, and just compete. You guys took care of, like, I'll set up the camera, but you guys did the judging. You made sure everything was lined up and taped appropriately, and that is priceless. And that's what communities and friends are about. So, although I train a lot and I commit a lot to it for most of the year, that success, my most successful year, wouldn't have been without everybody here. Whether that's you, and by the way, like, one of the most influential people in my life is Leah, because had she not been there at semifinals last year, I don't know what the fuck would have happened. If you guys were not there, it would have.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like,
and we could talk about like what you mean by that, as far as like
what
from the
happens
support, but like also like you were dealing with an injury, and that's
Yeah.
what like Leah was there to kind of.
Yeah, on the PT. Yeah. All right. So last year I committed more to training than I ever have in my life. Like, there's different levels of my life in terms of the training that I've given more dedication than other years. So I made it to regionals in 2017. I had a really humbling existential crisis to where I did so.
Ben Smith.
Dude, I did so bad at regionals.
Shout out Ben Smith.
I
And
literally-
Elijah
If you ever
Muhammad.
hear this.
Dude,
Oh, Easy Muhammad jumping and touching the top rope in one jump.
it was awful. Dude.
Frank.
Awful. So 2017,
I gotta go watch the highlights.
Yeah,
Don't.
that's gotta be on YouTube somewhere.
Don't.
It's on YouTube somewhere. We'll put the link down below. Just kidding, go ahead.
And then we'll put the link to this recent semis where we kicked some butt, see
Yeah.
the progress.
Yeah.
A little bit. I had a really humbling experience because, like, you qualify for the regionals. I thought I was the man because I was like, this is my year. I did really well in the Open in 2017. Excuse me. And then, I moved to Training Think Tank. I trained for that year. And reflecting, I'm like, I didn't really even train as hard as I could have or commit myself as much as I could have. So there's different levels of commitment to the goal as you pursue the goal, right? And that year was super humbling. I had a terrible year, 2018 and 2019, because I was kind of like, they were changing the season. I was using things as an out to train less. I was kind of like lukewarm, just dipping my toe into competitive CrossFit, because if you're gonna compete in CrossFit and try to make the CrossFit Games, or even let alone the CrossFit Games semifinals,
Just the semifinals, you're in the still 0.001%
yeah,
in the world.
yeah, and that's worth mentioning too, right? Like, if you're trying to make the CrossFit Games semifinals or be the best in the world and make it to the CrossFit Games, if you don't commit yourself, you will get eaten alive. Like, you will get fucking eaten alive because everything you're willing or you're not willing to do, there's 50 other people that are, and the 50 other people that are going to make it, and you're not going to make it. And that's where I was at in 2018, 19. 2020 was a wash. And then 2021, that's whenever I started to take it more seriously, because I was coming around you guys, and I was like, I was training more to Aurelius, and I was giving more to the training process. But, my 2021 season, doing the quarterfinals the first year, chapped my ass, because I was like, I'm like knocking on the door, but I'm not there.
Rumor has it, if somebody would have started your rower, you would have made semis.
I'm not looking at Lex or Leah. But in 2021, if my rower would have started, Kurt wouldn't have beat me by 3 seconds.
Those things turn on quick. I'll give them 2 seconds.
You had that.
Those turn on in 2 seconds easy.
You had that silver row. It doesn't turn on quite as quick.
Well, he had the most brand spanking new rower money could buy.
Brand
Yeah.
spanking.
Yeah, I pulled it
new.
out of
It
the package that
doesn't
day.
matter if your homies aren't there to click the button.
Your homies.
4 pulls and it still didn't turn on. And then Kurt's like, I beat you. We'll see.
We'll see about that.
Sabotage.
No, but 2021 into 2022, I literally, like, do you remember the conversation we had after the 2021 season where I sat down, I was like, this is what we got to do for the next year?
Yeah.
It's like, I did that in my personal life times 10. And
Which is awesome.
Yeah, and that was the difference between 2021 and the year I went to semis, and now it's just, like, it's even more aggressive. And it's, like, it is exhausting, but I don't know if there's a way around it.
No, there's not. I don't think so. And like, so like
Anytime you hear any of those big athletes, like Frazier and them, like, they just know there is zero
It's just like-
if, ands, what's about it. Like, and I mean, that dude's the best in the world.
it's a whole other
So,
level.
I mean,
like,
it's crazy how much time you have to commit, like you're saying, to make it just to semifinals, and it's awesome to see what you have to sacrifice, not so awesome, but I mean, to achieve your goal is amazing.
I mean, that's just like anything in life. If you want anything, you got to sacrifice something.
Mhm.
You got to sacrifice some stuff that you don't.
What would you say have been the hardest things to sacrifice to achieve the goal? They're all obviously worth it, but I'm just saying, like, what stinks the most?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I
It
think
just
it's
came in my head.
That's fine. I know.
I don't think, like, for me, it's not hard to say yes to my goal for me.
No, yeah, 100%.
I think it's going to be mostly, like, probably family related relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe some personal relationships, because not everyone's going to understand that, oh, this guy has to train
Yep.
4 hours a day.
I'd say majority of people don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's
even
a
CrossFitters
super
will get it.
hard conversation with people.
Even like from like sort of like your standpoint, but like someone who just like likes to train for like life, like even just because you don't go out doesn't mean you're not like, you know what I mean? It's
No,
just or go
100%,
do
yeah.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
but from your perspective,
Yeah.
it's just like if you're in the CrossFit space, you just know, and that's
Yes.
like who you have around you. That's who you want to keep around you.
Yep.
So, but like if you don't
That's why
do
this community
CrossFit,
helps
it's tough.
so much. Like he was saying, Charlie started training around here. We understand
Yeah.
the grit and the sacrifices he makes, and from an outside standpoint, it's hard for people to understand
It's not,
what he's sacrificing and what for.
And that's
Yeah.
fine. Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. But
and that's just, and you know, that's a personal goal, and I know that it's temporary, and I'm not gonna train this way forever. So whenever I'm thinking about it, it's like I'm gonna eat, sleep, drink, think, surround myself with people, consume content in a way that's gonna make me faster at working out.
Yeah.
like to the
I
most
love
to the most obsessive way that I think I can handle, which is like, you know, hour of mobility every night, like literally getting in bed on time, drinking enough water,
all
unfollowing
those
accounts,
little things we talked
all
about.
the little things.
Yeah.
That's what made me more successful in 2022 than 2021 was I didn't skip mobility. I stopped staying up late, like just like little stuff like that. And I did all of that more consistently. And I literally, so I was living with my dad for the whole year, and he helped a lot with cooking and stuff like that. So I didn't have to worry about that season, like the dinners. But if it didn't have to do with coaching my clients, or it didn't have to do with having a better performance the next day in the gym, I just didn't do it. Like I might have played some games to unwind and disconnect for
you
like
need
an
that.
hour or two,
Wow.
or like read a book or something.
Well, you played World of Warcraft. Don't lie.
Right, yeah.
Don't lie to the people. You're
I
reading
played a
books.
little bit of
Oh wow.
Let's go.
But whenever it came to lifestyle, like going somewhere, going out of my way for something, I didn't do much of it. I maybe like drank alcohol 3 times last year, 3 or 4 times in the whole year. So it does require a lot of commitment. And by the way, like that's just the semifinal level. And like you said, and it's so funny because at semifinals, if you're not doing well, the vibe of the people is super negative. People are visibly upset. The vibe is really low. Not for me, because I understood going into it that I was injured and what to expect out of myself. And I was soaking it up because I'm like, dude, this is not like a local comp. Like this is not a local event.
There's some big time names there.
It
I'll
is
say
the-
that.
at that point in the season.
at that specific
One of
semifinal.
the
Yeah.
one of the biggest probably.
Yes.
So we like everybody in my heat, which was the first heat, which is usually the worst, is the people were kind of like upset. And in my mind, I'm like, people would die and kill to be here, and we don't have a right to be upset about being here. Like, you have a right to be upset about your performance, but like, you should be soaking it up because it's not guaranteed you're going to be there next year.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable to be on a floor. Like, think about it like this. Out of all of the people that do CrossFit, if you're at the semifinals, you are top 120 of the best of all of those people that do this.
Yeah.
That's
That's what I mean.
fucked
It's
up.
point
It's
zero
crazy.
zero zero 1%.
It's crazy. So I can't help but be like extremely grateful for that, because even though it doesn't go the way you want it to go and you don't like punch the ticket every time, it's like, dude,
You're going against the best of the best, though.
you are
You're
among
the best in the world.
best. That's
In the world.
that's the connection that people need to make, is like, if you're there, you're not competing against the best. You are among them. Like,
Yeah.
you are there. It's not like
You're
there's
there with
Frank
them.
and them, then them up on the pedestal. It's like, yeah, sure, if you wanted to like do that with rankings, but in the grand scheme of the competition, everybody there has earned their way.
Sure, absolutely.
Exactly. It's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's just a little like.
That's the competitive side.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
Yeah, just but how that like all just kind of comes from how you started to focus on in that season. So like everything, including that, so like coming to Aurelius, all the little things from your competitive side, just really kind of gave you that extra motivation and stuff that you needed to just even make it there.
It
like,
enhanced my focus.
Yeah.
It enhanced knowing, like, off in the distance, there was like my friends at Aurelius that if I needed help, I would ask and they would be there. And before that, I didn't have that because I was just training, alone.
Yeah,
I'm just nipping at your heels.
Knowing that Kurt's just nipping at my heels, I'm gonna tell him to keep eating Ben and Jerry's.
You forgot. You misspoke. You said now that Jacob Dunlap is nipping at his heels.
Yeah.
Jacob,
New guy on campus.
Just you wait for that podcast. He's coming home 23rd
when I first saw
of November.
Jacob, I was like, when I first saw Jacob, I was like, he's gonna be better than all of us.
Know how when
he beat you in that work. He walked in that way like, who's this kid?
Walked in. I never met the kid.
You guys
before.
worked
He was
out
like,
together.
Hey, yeah, we did a workout together. I'm
So
like, I'll probably
quiet.
smoke this
Such a
kid.
quiet.
Whatever. I was confident in myself then.
Yeah.
He beat me by like at least 30 seconds. I was like,
Unreal.
Oh my God.
Who
are
he's
you?
He's gonna be home November 23rd, and I
was-
think he's coming on that Friday morning, the 25th.
It was unreal.
So be
and
prepared for
he
that.
beat me by 2 seconds this morning.
You'll
so
see Jacob
still can't
Dunlap.
beat him.
Dude,
Be prepared to
Unbelievable.
see that kid.
yeah, he's unbelievable.
I mean, he's an idiot, but
Big.
He's
we love him.
he's
He's
already
alright.
my
Well, he's your
son.
son.
My son.
He is my son. Jacob is my son.
He'll appreciate this. But that's kind of cool, just seeing like how you take your training for CrossFit, and then also how you like had to deal with while you're training. You also do your nutrition stuff. You do deal with, I would imagine, quite a few amount of CrossFitters.
A lot.
But it's not necessarily just all CrossFit. So like lifestyle, that's like one of the biggest impacts we try and preach on this. Pros with Con is just like the lifestyle component that CrossFit can introduce, which is a huge part, is nutrition. So like that's what you focus on, and you get all kinds of people, fat loss, performance goals, aesthetics, whatever the case is. And this is why I wanted to touch on this as well, because they're all important just based off what your goals are. It doesn't make one better than the other. What are your goals, period? And then you kind of establish that. So like, I guess talk a little bit about that as far as like what your clientele is mainly focused on, or like how CrossFit is intertwined with all that kind of stuff. And I mean, you can even also, we would like for you to touch on the lifestyle type thing of it too. So like fat loss, that kind of stuff.
So every person that comes to me wants fat loss.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I would say
Like
I don't lose fat.
1 out of 100 will be like, I don't care how much I need to eat. I want to perform like a freak. And it's all because the dietary industry and like all the conditioning we've been through. Like if being lean and feeling confident and feeling sexy was common and easy to do, most people would be like, yeah, of course I'm going to walk around sexy, feel confident, not indulge in all these vices in the world, like all this alcohol, all this calorie dense food, going out every weekend with my friends. It's like, but the thing that I love about CrossFit in particular and like this industry is that when I hang out with my friends in CrossFit from 2013 to now, if I don't want to drink alcohol, I don't have to. I'm not being judged for it. Like no one really cares.
Yeah.
But in normal society,
I don't want to interrupt, but like that's such a huge point. Like, how, like that's literally such a huge point. Like,
it's cultural.
yes, being in around a community that like, if you like go to the semifinal, everyone there, I mean, they probably enjoy a nice alcohol here and there. We enjoy good bourbon occasionally, but like the amount of people there that like care about their health is what CrossFit is, that's all about. So like just combining that with like how you focus on your goals, helping your people. I didn't want to interrupt, sorry, but like that's such an important topic to talk about.
Well, it's like when you start eating healthy, people are like, you're almost
you're
looked
like
down on.
judged in a way
You don't
that's
eat
like
I see that with
you don't eat
corporate
Ben and
clients.
Jerry's.
Yeah.
and like again, this is, you can do all these things and still like be successful in what your goals are.
And that's what's awesome about Frank is how he works it out.
Exactly.
It's actually a psychological thing. So if you're in a group and everyone's eating like shit and eating a bunch of like really high calorie food, that like donuts in the office or like a bunch of pizza that like you probably don't need to eat, and a bunch of alcohol, and the one person doesn't eat that, Maybe they have some of their own food.
Yeah.
Maybe they order something healthier.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the person who's eating healthier or making a decision that they want to make. It's everybody else feeling insecure, because what that's doing is the person that's eating healthy and prioritizing their goal is making the people that eat like garbage question themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So and people don't like that, because people have to be like, man, why am I doing this? Why am I like constantly making decisions that are inadequate for the achievement of my better self, let's say, right? And when you ask that question to yourself, you don't really like what the answer is, because it means that you have to change, and it means that you've not been doing everything you can to be everything that you want to be. So psychologically, that's the interpersonal office relationship that people have whenever you're in a group setting. But in society, it's cultural that most people are, and there's nothing wrong with going out to eat and drink, but
Sure.
if your environment is constantly doing that, you're going to be influenced to do the same, right?
Yep.
So most people that come to me with these fat loss related goals, tying back to what do most people want, it's most people want that, but they don't know how to achieve it, because the road between where they are and where they want to be seems so unbelievably restrictive compared to what they're doing, because the current life that most people are living, they lack awareness, they don't know where to start, so they don't know what decisions to make, so it just paralyzes them, right? And so the true road to getting a leaner body of yours, like your leaner body, is to learn how to properly interact with food in a way that's in alignment to your lifestyle and the way that you want to live. That make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and that'll look different for different people.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Right, and not everybody should be changing everything at once, but that's the problem with dietary culture, is that skinny is glorified, and now in the social media age, angles and lighting and filters and apps that make your ass bigger or bring your waist in and warp the photo. And as a photographer, I know how to make people look really good in photos with editing and the lighting and all that stuff. So all that stuff isn't a real representation of reality, but we still take it in, and it influences the way that we set goals and the way that we approach our daily living and eating. So we might see something on Instagram, or somebody who looks beautiful and aesthetic say something about a food, and then our next food interaction with that food, our brain recalls that thing that we saw on social media and influences the way that we're thinking about what we're about to eat.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me, and I'm sure we understand, but
Yeah.
this is an important topic for people to hear.
Yeah, so, for every single person that wants fat loss, it's let's just teach you how to eat properly. Let's focus on the basics, because until you can master the basics and figure out where you want to eat, what foods you want to eat and the amount of food that's right for your body, it's just going to be difficult. So teaching people the basics and making it easy is where the unbelievable foundation is for transformation.
That was nice.
That was
What do
awesome.
anything to say? Anything to add?
Agree. Yeah. Like you said, teaching people the amount to eat for their body. I mean, I don't know how many times we hopped on a call and we had to adjust things here or there, and that's what you do, and that's what you're good at. And so it was awesome. And you just kept telling me to eat more, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? I don't use guesswork. So you have to listen to the body. For example, a lot of people misinterpret sweet cravings with, I have a problem with sweets, and you don't have a problem with sweets. What you're not getting is that the signal is telling you something. I have this craving. I want to eat sweets. Okay. Number one, sweets are delicious. Number two, why are you getting that signal so often? Well, you're probably under eating. You probably have a lot of life stress. You probably have a busy, loaded work schedule. You probably have children, or you're losing sleep, right? It's impacting your body's physiology, and being underfed means that your body is going to signal a craving for food. It's not always that you have a personality trait that's making you prone to eating way too many sweets. It's the lifestyle that you're living that's making you prone to eat too many sweets. So so every time I feed somebody more, or recommend that they eat more, and they start eating more carbohydrates, more fruits or rice, or just whatever they want, a Pop-Tart even, they don't crave anymore, they don't binge anymore, a lot of that's reduced, and they have a more realistic understanding as to what signals their body's sending. And that is how we take somebody from not fat loss to lifestyle, but understanding their body, their daily schedule, their routine, what's working well for their body, eliminating a lot of the fear of food and a lot of the food guilt, whether that's in social situations, behind the scenes when they're eating out of their pantry at night, having a bowl of cereal or the Ben and Jerry's. It's like you can make it all work, but we have to work to eliminate that, get you feeling very good, make it feel easy, because if it's easy, you're going to keep doing it and you're not going to hate it. And so then we can build the fat loss transformation. Then after we get you feeling really good, learning new skills, learning how to operate on the fly, by feel, without even documenting a food journal, learning how to go into a birthday party, a wedding, and eat intuitively, that's whenever we can make fat loss adjustments to your targets or to the way that you're living. And then it's easy. It's just doing everything you love to do, except being calculated with it so that you achieve fat loss over time.
That makes sense. It's awesome.
That was
Just crazy.
phenomenal. You could just tell the passion.
Oh, that's not even
Which
crazy
is
how
great.
smart he is.
But yeah, I
it's
mean, like this is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, and that'll look different from person to person.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm training a lot, so 3,500 calories. That's my maintenance. So if I were to drop below that, then technically, if I kept my lifestyle the same, I would get leaner. Right? So it's all relative to the person. So some people should be eating 1,500. Some people should be eating 24. And it's about, like, during that, let's say, I call it habit and development and metabolic restoration. So we're developing new habits. We're saying that, okay, in the beginning, I'm learning how to develop new habits because I don't know what habits to develop and I don't know what's good for me. So as I start to develop these habits, I'm doing things in my life within my eating that my coach is telling me will be good for me. So I'm portioning out food. I'm thinking about protein first. I'm drinking enough water. You're developing the fundamental habits and you're not really stressing about what's good or what's bad. Okay? The metabolic restoration standpoint is we have a set of targets that we're aiming for so that we can get you to feel good physiologically. What does that mean? Well, it means, all right, as we're developing these habits, how do we know that they're making you feel better? Well, we talk about it, and you're going to know whether or not you feel worse. So things to check in with are like energy, is my appetite regular? Am I having healthy bowel movements? Am I sleeping okay? Am I chronically like just worried and anxious? Am I having cramping, digestive issues? How is my in-training energy? Like, are my workouts getting better at the gym? Like, do I do better with strength workouts, or do I have more energy to push in the Metcon? So once we can get you feeling good and be like, yeah, like I feel like the best I have in a while, that's the foundation, because then you're going to know, okay, this is how I did that. And then whenever you're healthy enough and let's say you even get bored with what you're doing, but you feel good, then you could prioritize fat loss. Then you could say, all right, let's do the same thing. Let's drop the calories back a little bit. Let's give it some time. And you're already eating stuff you like, because if you didn't, or if you wouldn't be eating stuff you didn't like by that point. So there's not like nutritional restrictions of like being afraid of pancakes or fruit or pasta or dinners with friends, right? It's just being more intentional and disciplined with the amount over time.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you kind of relay all this information just right now. Like we kind of understand it just from hanging out with you and being close in that kind of way. But it's important for people to understand. It's just like the gym. Everyone is always about like they want it now. They want results now. How do I get from here to here as quick as possible? And it's just not that simple based on like how your body is. And like that kind of applies from a gym perspective as well as like a nutrition perspective. And that's kind of where you come into play. Instilling all of this confidence in them that they are able to achieve these things. It's just going to take some conversations that you probably don't want to have, but will get you to where you want to be. And it's important for people to understand, like, this is one of the most important topics we could probably talk about, just because of like you said, the society and everything you see on the internet these days, and like nutrition and all the miscommunication, misinformation, whatever you want to call it, the importance of like protein and carbohydrates and everything relative to your goals. You know all of these things. It's just how do you effectively communicate to a group of people that don't really understand how to go about changing their lifestyle.
And you know what? It's very tough, man. Because
yeah, it's not easy, but like, is anything in life easy that's worth it? Like, obviously, it's just like anything else. It's just like a so specific type of relationship you need to have with food, and then like with your coach, it's important. So like, this is why I wanted you to like talk about that.
Yeah, and I think what you touched on is like instilling that into people, the confidence of being able to do it.
It's like the biggest thing I could take away from anything we do here, anything I do in life, anything you do in life, how, like, in order to have the confidence to do something or change your lifestyle, is just, it's one of the most important things to have, and that goes for nutrition.
Yeah, think about it like this, right? So, like, why do I have a business? Well, to make money so that I can operate in the world and live in our society.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to do something that affects other people's health, and I want to go down the path of creating something that's actually sustainable for people, wouldn't I want them to not rely on me forever? Wouldn't I want to liberate them from the prison that is the dietary culture of being consumed within how I look on social media, what people think of me, what skinny is, or like any like any form of external validation, right? Wouldn't I want to liberate them from the traditional dietary scheme that is like the billion-dollar industry with a 99% fail rate? And you can only do that by sitting down and taking the time and helping them develop the proper skills.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's no different than teaching somebody, hey, I have a really weak back, but then you see them and they don't know how to pick something up. So you teach them the mechanics of the deadlift. And you teach them the mechanics of the deadlift so that whenever they go to pick up their grandchild, they subconsciously already know how to do it. They know this is the position to put my body in through space, and I know how to brace, I know to drive through my legs, and I know that my back shouldn't be rounded. You teach them the skills so that they don't have to rely on the unbelievable like complexity that they thought it was before, because it's really not as it gets complex whenever we get into hormones and whenever we get into lab testing and legitimate like chronic disease, which is like outside of what I do, but it's mastering the basics and helping people liberate themselves from that way of thinking of it's just paralyzing because they don't know where to start.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's, like I said, one of the single most important topics we could probably talk about on this podcast, but just in life, people, it's just, you see it everywhere. It's the society thing, it's the unawareness, it's just like the fear, like all this stuff kind of just plays into it. I mean, did you feel any of these things when you worked with him? I mean, not necessarily those things, but like just not understanding how to fuel your body.
Yeah, I didn't understand how to fuel my body. I didn't understand.
You ate a lot too, man. You ate a lot of food.
Yeah, I did, and I still do. I'm very fortunate. I have a pretty good metabolism. But I didn't understand anything. Like, I barely knew what a macro was. I didn't know how to weigh food. I didn't know what MyFitnessPal was and how it even, like, I didn't understand any of that. So it was very overwhelming at the start. And it's going to be when you start something new. But like I said, Frank eases you into it. And I mean, the first like month and then the next month, and you're just like, okay.
It gets easy.
Exactly. It's just like, I was like,
once you figure out what works, it's just like, now you know.
It's like, hey, you need to do this. And then after that meeting, we'd adjust. Hey, you need to do this. And then 3 months down the road, I'm like, okay, I kind of like have a feel for this. I have confidence. And then he'd get on a call and be like, hey, you did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. I get my gold star today.
Yeah.
Frank loves me today.
Wow, that's good stuff.
Yeah, acknowledging the wins and the positive things that are happening, because
It's
you're going to
important.
get more of them if
Very
you
important.
acknowledge the positives.
Yeah. So like that's when you see us coaching, why we celebrate big things, like feeling that acknowledgement of doing something that you didn't think you'd be able to do, whether it's nutrition, in the gym, doesn't matter, and it's super important for people to help build that confidence within themselves, and that even goes for someone that's like an elite level CrossFitter, takes it seriously. All right, dude, I'm trying to help you out a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you take CrossFit very seriously?
Yes,
you train very seriously? You take your nutrition very seriously, your lifestyle very seriously? Like, he has his vices, like you said before, like you enjoy good ice cream, huh? Good bourbon.
Good quality ice cream.
I got you
bourbon.
both into bourbon.
Yes,
That's
Bourbon
good
is
stuff.
good.
So, like, he has these things, but, like, if you're an Aurelius member, you know Kurt just from around the area, like, you know he's always been athletic. And, like, even he had, like, just misinformation or like didn't know like where to go, what to do, and he wanted to take that extra step to feel better and perform better and whatever his goals were. So just take that from someone like him as opposed to someone like one of your regular clients in the gym who just likes to work out to feel good and look better.
It's totally different levels of application of nutrition. And so let me, like, do you just want me to get into like why it's important to look at food amount compared to only food quality?
We got about 10, 12 minutes or so,
Okay.
so nothing
So,
crazy.
The
but
reason why we focus on the amount of food is because everything that you have as a goal, whether that's performance, gaining lean tissue, losing body fat, losing weight, or just maintaining, has to do with energy balance. So the amount of energy that you're spending throughout the day compared to the amount of energy that you're eating. Now, estimating the amount of energy that you're consuming is a lot more accurate than estimating how much energy you have going out. So, for example, a lot of people will think that they can go out and smash like chips and queso and a margarita and a full dinner after a 7-minute AMRAP because the 7-minute AMRAP was really, really hard. Okay, so effort doesn't necessarily, like in a short space of time, doesn't necessarily dictate a high level of caloric expenditure because, like, outside of that 7 minutes, what are they doing the entire day, right? But we have to balance out the amount of energy that we're consuming, and so we do that through, now we have technology, so we can track our food in an application that's synced with like a lot of food labels and a lot of entries within the app. Now, these are all just estimations anyways, but we want to set it so that we're consuming enough in relation to our goal. So if we feel really, really low energy, we're probably in a deficit compared to what we're spending. The reason why we track macros is because you could have, let's say, a 1,500 calorie per day diet, but imagine doing that like all through fats. Like literally all you eat is avocados all day and bacon. It's like you're gonna feel awful.
Sounds like Kurt's diet before he came to you.
You're gonna feel awful. Yeah,
I felt off.
right. Yeah. So what we do is we want to balance things out, right? But another really positive perspective of macros is that you can get really refined with how you're consuming your energy, but you can also be super flexible and eat delicious food items. Like you can fit Ben and Jerry's in, maybe not the whole pint, but you can work it in. Have a happy palate and you can enjoy food without worrying about, oh, this is bad, this is going to make me fat, because that's the typical fear is if I eat this food that society considers bad or is a low quality food but low quality, high calorie, if I eat this I'll get fat. And that's just not true because it's all energy balance. So we're just monitoring and not tying emotion to, is this the right thing for me or the wrong thing for me?
I think that might be one of the biggest things that like you instill in your clients is understanding that.
I hope it's the most fundamental.
Just from knowing you and like what you post and what you talk about, and like hopefully that's what people get out of this is like the time, getting the emotion out of it, and like understanding in moderation, like you can enjoy these foods and all these things. So like that's one of the big things people think is wrong, or they don't know, like, oh, I just can't, I can't eat anything. Like it's
real too.
Yeah, and that's like we think it's funny because we're like, no,
we're liberated from it.
We understand it, but like it's important for like I'd say the masses don't understand it. So like that's where you come into play.
And people will do that. People will eat, or even if they're tracking macros and they understand that, sometimes people will go over their macro, or they'll eat something that might make them full, and then they'll sit there and they will stress about the situation. And the reason why they're stressing is because they ate something, they have a physical sensation, oh man, I'm really, really full, I might have overdone it, I went over my macros, it was like low quality food, I think that's going to make me fat. So then they create this story in their mind. Then they create an emotional state of tension and stress and negative emotion associated with what they did, and then they take that with them into the future, and their next interaction with food is usually negative, and we want to eliminate that. What we want to do is make it so that their next interaction with food is pretty logical. It's not in response to what they did. It's just the next thing. It's like going with the flow. Let's just restart the next day. Let's just start fresh. Don't criticize everything you're doing about every eating decision that you make, right? Because think about it like this. You have how many more eating interactions or eating experiences per day compared to training? Well, let's say I train twice per day and I'm at the gym for 3.5 and 4 hours total, but I eat about 5 to 6 times, like a breakfast, snack, post-training, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, something like that, which is a lot of food experiences. We don't want to have every food experience to be negative. So we have to work on the psychological component by having conversations and having a check-in, whether that's with yourself or through text or with a friend or support system, which is what people here do with you guys. And that's how we can create a better headspace for people, instead of being worried about every little minute detail, because the stress response of eating something that made you feel uncomfortable or bloated, what you do in response to how you feel is more important than what you even ate.
Yeah, the emotional state from it, basically.
Yeah.
It's just one of the most important factors that you could probably take away.
Mhm.
And that's like all of that is built into like just understanding everything. So like you do a good job of like communicating that to your clients. I'm sure everyone could attest to that,
Yeah.
Kurt firsthand.
Mhm.
And that's just an important thing. Like goals, all these things, they're all connected in some way. But like it's deeper than just like I want to lose fat. How do I do this? Like
It's way deeper.
you have to
Yeah. It's
understand.
It's deeper
the
than Frank just
bigger
throwing
picture.
numbers at you and be like, follow that.
Yeah.
She's just driving nuts, dude. That's why
And like
I hate that.
yeah,
so much.
yeah.
That's why I said it.
I know.
Hey, try these numbers.
Here's numbers. Bye.
I hate that whole like just
It's like we got to talk about this.
It's part of
How
it
do-
for
how do
sure.
you
Like
feel?
eventually
How's
you
this energy.
you eventually get to that
Yeah.
point, but like
But like you're saying, the,
Meh.
the mental state is where people fault, and that's just like getting people to realize like food is your friend and not your enemy. It's
Food
what
is
Frank
your
So
friend.
good at.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for the
all right, see you guys. We're
I
done
gotta
with it.
start talking junk. I've been talking this guy up too much.
Clydesdale Kurt.
Yeah.
Clydesdale Kurt.
That's why I'm so successful because I just come here and they hype me up.
Yeah. Let's go.
Kurt talks a lot of mess.
No,
Me? I would never.
Oh, is that funny? Anyway,
when I was when I
he's
was-
flustered now.
yeah.
Thanks, Kurt.
Well,
What are you thinking about?
just basically like only put energy into the things that are gonna get you closer to where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
and don't put any excess energy into anything that doesn't matter. Like ask yourself, does this even matter?
Applies to everything in life. Literally
Just like
anything. in life.
power over your mind. That's the it's Marcus Aurelius, exactly. Power over your mind. That's like if you have power over your thoughts and you flush it with good thoughts and intentional thoughts,
Intentional.
you are gonna live a great life.
Wow, look at that.
Why do you care what
A
other
good life.
people
Good life training.
exactly. Why do you care what other people think about you? Like it's you. People just stress so
Sad.
much about what expectations of this, that, Instagram model, like you say all the time, and all these Instagram fads, and what are they gonna think about me if I do this? It's like, am I happy? Yes. If I'm happy, then I could care less what
Seriously.
you guys have to say about me.
It's again. We'll go back
Like-
to that word, liberating.
Yeah.
uh, Getting rid of like the just caring what anyone has to think about you.
If you're around a happy person, you are going to love that person so much. Everyone's going to love you so much more than if you're so self-conscious and reserved and push people away or get judgy about things. It's just
Yeah,
like
and
if
this-
you are so comfortable in your own skin and you are smiling because you're happy, that's what people want. That's infectious. Your smile is infectious. So Frank, transforming your mindset to give you the body you want and making you the person that you want to be is
That's
going
the best
to
thing about Aurelius, dude. Is like when you come here, or whenever. Like for me, this is my experience. You guys don't get upset when other people are winning, and unfortunately, a lot of friend groups and environments will not celebrate your winning because they think it means less for them. But you guys and most of my friends are about, I want to see you win because it doesn't mean anything less for me, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are super supportive, have a great community, and that's the vibe that you get here whenever it comes to fitness and health in general.
Thank you.
Like more for you does not mean less for me, and you guys display that quite well.
I mean, we talk about that
Appreciate
in
that.
business,
Yeah.
CrossFit, anything, fitness, lifestyle, anything.
And it's not like, hey, I want to get something from it. It's just how it is. It's
Yeah.
just how you guys are. It's like, I care about you. I want to see you do very well.
Do you want to beat Frank in workouts all the time?
Every day.
Absolutely. Competitive
Yeah, you do.
nature is different
on
than
occasion.
Yeah.
But like no, but seriously, and we push each other to be better. And Frank might have sabotaged me with little Ben and Jerry's, but
you didn't turn his row around.
no,
though.
Frank made. Dang.
It all evens out.
But it just shows. I mean, he's made me so much better. That
Being competitive is
I'm
way
even capable
different
to be
than-
close to him in workouts.
Being competitive is way different than not wanting to see your friends win.
Yeah.
Very true.
I care more about you than friends and as like a competitor.
Oh, 100%.
And like that's just how it is here
Yeah.
at Aurelius, but like in CrossFit
Yeah.
in
If
general.
Frank's his best version, then it's just going to push me to be my best version.
Yeah, like-
so why wouldn't I want everyone around me to be their best version? Because then we're all just thriving together, pushing towards.
Does it suck always getting beat by
Oh.
goes? Yeah, but I'm better off for it. It's all right. Jacob beats me. He was beating me all summer when
I can't train
was
with
training with
Jacob
him.
anymore. I can't because it turns into competing.
Hey, happy birthday, buddy, Jacob.
The last time
birthday.
Jacob and I trained together, we were like, yeah, we're just going to cruise through this. And then we ended up,
I think he told me this
We
story.
ended up competing.
I think
and
he
then
told me
I
this
walked
story.
over to Leah, and she was like, "You could have cut the tension with a knife." We
Said
were
it's
going
true.
at it.
Competitive
Start
nature.
going
I
at
love
it.
it.
Well,
Which is good though.
and real quick, like I said, for semifinals, you guys made the trip to drive me and take care of me, and I told this to Lucas, but I wouldn't have had fun at semis if you guys weren't there.
Yeah,
I would have had, like, think about it like this. I would have been there. I would have had no one there. I would have had to go through the warm-up, the cool-down, the living experience. And, like, same thing for Nafi and all the people from
Yeah,
Harlem.
yeah.
If I didn't have friends there, that would have been a really dumb experience. It wouldn't even have been worth it.
Even just having like people around to like desensitize yourself from the madness. So like even you wanted to leave and go home just because you had to get away from it and like come off that adrenaline. But so like having friends around and people you like minded to just like take your mind off of things was just probably, I would say, like a cool thing to have.
What makes all the difference? It makes all the difference to be suffering and like, dude, it's so crazy. It's like all this work to exercise as fast as possible, to have like more shoulder mobility than the other athletes, so I don't get as tired as soon in the workout as they do, and like just develop a better engine and have more mental focus with my heart rate at 180 plus. It's like, you know, you do that and then you go into an arena and your friends are there compared to if they're not. So like that meant the world, man. That's the Aurelius like community for me. So, and
that's like what I want. Like CrossFit just like is all of that. It's like it's unreal.
The heart of it,
it's unreal how much nutrition, community, just competitive nature, but then also like wanting to see your friends win. Just like all the good things in life that you strive for. CrossFit kind of
if you're listening
has
to this and
in
you
some
don't do
point.
CrossFit, go give it a chance.
Give it a chance. I'm telling you.
Promise you won't be upset.
I've told you about some things where people sent it and they went and tried
community.
it and they're like, well, they joined the gym. Like if that's like a win, then I'll take it.
Oh, that's the biggest win you can ask for.
Find whatever you want to work. Do whatever
we're
you want to do. Find something that works. Just get healthy. Get in the gym.
And
CrossFit
surround
is
yourself
just
with good people.
Yeah,
you will be
CrossFit
a
just
better version of yourself if you prioritize your health and fitness and strengthen your body and mind, and it's even more fun if you have a community to keep you in it.
Yeah.
That's what CrossFit was, dude.
And every person that's been on this like is that way. They might not do CrossFit, but they understand that connection that we have just to be healthy, which is the ultimate goal. Having that healthy lifestyle so you're able to live into your later years and be functional and be able to do things that you want to do. And I mean that goes for everything: nutrition, physical fitness, mental fitness, anything.
The people that you surround yourself with,
yes.
the encouragement that you have.
Absolutely. So like this was, I mean, all of it tied into one. We kind of got that cool perspective from you as an athlete, but then also as a coach,
awesome.
Lifestyle coaching versus like performance coaching. It's like a cool topic that I think is going to be very important for people to listen in on.
Oh, this is very important stuff.
Yeah. So like we all talk about this pretty regularly. I mean, we went to Waffles how many times and we would just be like, yo, let's just get the third Mega Berry.
Yeah.
Let's just get chicken and waffles for the table.
This is just normal conversation.
And we're able to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's how food friendly you made us. Like,
Yeah.
That's what's cool.
Food abundance, eliminating the food guilt, having food experiences with loved ones and friends. Like, you don't want to be the one that's like, because you don't want to be the one at the dinner table who everyone's eating delicious food, but you're having a mental conflict within yourself of like, should I eat this? Should I not eat this? Is this gonna make me fat? Is this gonna make me feel awful? Like, just stuff like that. You don't want to have that. So the difference between having it and not having it could be how you approach nutrition in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Yeah, so we're gonna continue this theme we like going, wrapping up these episodes.
Yeah, hopefully that resonated with people. That was a lot about my intro to CrossFit, which was fun.
It was important though to see that segue. Like you were that person that like lived an unhealthy lifestyle, like we all were when we were younger. We liked to party and stuff, but like you as you grow older, you become more invested in the things that you do like, and it was always like fitness and athletics for us. And, and then like so like once you like start to get older, you're like, wow, I mean, really should probably stop being an idiot.
Yeah, you just want to start getting better, feeling better. Like, who doesn't want to be around somebody who feels really good, feels good about their daily decisions, like has good energy, more positive emotions, uplifting to others, and that's what the health and fitness journey does for all of us, I think.
Yeah, so it was important that we kind of got that glimpse of like what you used to be involved in, but like look at the person you are now and how many people you do help and serve. That's kind of the ultimate thing.
And if that's me, imagine what you could do.
Talking to Kurt.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Kurt just beats
absolutely.
me in workouts and makes me really sad and insecure.
Let's go do one. You can go whoop my ass real
Oh,
quick.
jeez. Yeah, so we'll get
Psych,
keep
you wouldn't.
the theme rolling of just like ending the episodes with something that's been positive in your life or something you're looking forward to. Could be inside the gym, could be outside the gym, doesn't really matter. Just kind of something to speak some positivity into the world. Keep it light, keep it fresh. If you want to think of something real quick, we'll go carry on an animal fact.
Oh, animal fact.
Unless you
no,
give
I
me a little
haven't-
bit of everything.
Okay, I'll just do both.
Yeah.
So bats can consume 1,200 mosquitoes in a minute. In 1 minute.
1,200 mosquitoes.
1,200 mosquitoes
So-
in a
So
minute.
is it like, or is it like, no, no.
Yes, yes.
I'm assuming it's
Yes.
like no, 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 no.
Oh, no.
Because it's very different.
Make sure you
You
watch
gotta
YouTube.
watch on YouTube or Spotify. We'll say it one more time with Kurt
Yeah,
here.
sorry, I'm a horrible just for audio. I have to demonstrate everything.
Anyway,
But
you got a
there's
positive?
animal fact. Positive, yes. Alexa Sullivan, crushing shadowing coaching. So she passed
she
her
won
L1, and she's been shadowing me the past 2 weeks, and it's cool to see how, like, you have that athlete mindset, and it's cool to see her flip over to the coach mindset of, like, when she should go correct somebody and when she should see or what she sees wrong in, like, a movement and stuff like that. So that's been a really cool experience to help with, and she's crushing it. So
Yeah, she was supposed to do this past Tuesday, but she got hung up at work for Olympic lifting. But we'll get her on to Olympic lifting
it's
class.
cool stuff.
But yeah, what you got for me, Frankie?
Something positive.
Yeah, anything. Training going well.
Yeah. So
Client
this time,
wins.
Literally, oh, dude, so many client wins. My God.
Yeah, you can just something.
So
anything.
positive things. I was thinking about this the other day. This time last year, I just suffered my back injury and I had COVID, and I could hardly like tie my shoe. And this year, I'm training full.
That's very.
And this year he
very
can
positive,
tie
yeah.
his shoe.
This
Very
year,
positive.
I
love
can feed my cat without pain.
Rusty.
Rusty.
That's a hefty boy.
Rusty
He eats
deserves
a lot
that.
too, so you be
Rusty.
bending over a lot.
Pain.
Rusty.
Every client from here is killing it. Lynn's killing it. Abby's killing it. Pat's killing it. Danny's killing it.
They're all killing it.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see. It's just awesome to see their transformation. And it's
And
so
I think it's
noticeable.
easier to have that community too, like you knowing people are like doing it with you, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Workouts, but then also nutrition, and like they
It's
can
humbling,
kind of.
man. They trust me a lot. It's not a small thing. It's your health.
Yeah.
It's money and it's health and it's everything you do every day. So I'm very grateful.
Absolutely.
They trust you in that aspect, but there's nothing better you can spend money on.
Your health.
I agree.
Anytime I have like the thought of like,
So, like spend it in the right places. Like with
should I
Frank and
invest in
Aurelia.
this thing, and like if it's if it's my health, I'm like I would rather invest in this and not have money elsewhere if it's my
No,
health.
yeah, exactly. Invest it wherever you
People
like.
used to look
Whatever
at me
gets
like
you
I was
motivated.
crazy for paying as much money as I did for like fitness and health, and I was like, you don't get it.
They don't
Like,
get
you
it.
really don't get it.
It's fine.
It's like most of my life is spent in the gym, so why wouldn't I want to maximize it?
Oh,
and,
exactly.
Like, make it better.
Oh, you're gonna do this every day. Why wouldn't you spend that money on it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. So I mean, a couple things. Rayleigh's games next weekend. Looking forward to it.
All right.
In-house competition here at Rayleigh's. Come check us out. First workout is posted. Frankie will be on the flickies. He likes to take
Second workout
pickies.
coming out Friday.
So that's fun. I feel like
So they'll know the second workout by the time this is released.
a lot of
And then the third workout will be released this day.
So this will be we record this a week in advance.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
so that's next weekend, November 5th. Come check us out at Aurelius.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you. Personal life type stuff. I do those movement clinics with Bachstrong, with Mallory. So today she sent me this one lady. I met with her prior to starting them. It was more just like to help this. Mallory called me and see if it helped this lady. She was in like a bad car accident or something, or her back was real messed up and she was nervous to like do anything in fear of her back. So I taught her like how to hinge properly better, and today she hit like a PR, and it was like a very emotional type thing
That's
as far as
awesome.
like
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
the movement clinics are like that's why
you do it.
Yeah.
That's right
CrossFit,
there.
dude.
yeah, so like that's
That's
me
amazing.
instilling the CrossFit mentality into Mallory's methodology at
Healthy.
Bachstrong,
Yeah.
but just helping people move better. So like that's kind of the whole point of those. So that was like one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. I remember the day I worked with her. It was early in the morning. And she's like one of the nicest ladies you ever meet. Like 5 kids, like super mom. So like it was cool to
awesome.
like. She's like, I think that was a PR, no pain. I was like, I mean, if if that's again not something to
No
continue.
pain is no joke,
Yeah,
dude.
moving to no pain is
And yeah,
right there.
and I was
Money.
just like, if that ain't something to continue, like what we do and what we talk about, and then helping out other people, no matter where it is, here at Aurelius or Boxstrong or through nutrition,
Anywhere, yeah.
I'm just like, I mean,
That's
bada
amazing.
bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
So that was
What's
that
up?
was
What's
phenomenal.
up?
But yeah, anyway,
Boom.
phenomenal episode. I think it's gonna be a really good one for the
Oh.
people to hear.
Thanks,
I
dude.
agree.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure you'll be welcome back
Our
anytime. We'll talk. we'll talk about some cool things, and then
Yeah.
But Clydesdale, you got anything for
One more? You want
Frankie
one more?
along?
Oh,
He
Just
posts
know.
one thing about PRing his mile
just
time.
hear those
and-
hooks. I'm always behind you, baby.
All right, we're gonna end it on that. All right, thanks for coming on, Frank.
Goodbye, everyone.
You have been listening to the Pros and Con podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. Come back each week for a new episode. Thanks for listening.